Riviera PR this morning. Hi, Katie.
Oh, yeah.
And Katie and I were having a chat the other day, and we decided that actually we needed to do a live Q&A all about social media. But we thought we'd do it with a little bit of a twist. We thought we'd do it about the mindset surrounding social media. So we're going to be covering today all sorts of topics, including like why do social media? Why would you bother? Like, other than to see what your friends are up to, why would you do more than that? We're going to be talking about some myths, because there's some great myths out there, aren't there, about what you shouldn't be doing. We're talking about things like the haters, jealousy, how you deal with that kind of side of it, downsides of putting yourself out, how to deal with it. We're going to be talking about why riders actually, and businesses and coaches, and also why you need to be using social media, but need to be thinking about it slightly differently than just, posting what you ate for dinner that night kind of thing. I think we're beyond those days now, aren't we? And yes, so do ask your questions, please do. I am going to be keeping an eye on those in the lounge this morning, and Katie will be asking away. So, Katie, give us, for those that don't know, you haven't met you, don't know what Riviera is, just give us a really quick overview of what Riviera PR is all about first.
Everything and anything. No, not really. So it was fundamentally set up to help riders with sponsorship management, so helping them go and find sponsors, how they do that. It's sort of expanded already in the last 6 months, so helping also riders and businesses both alike with social media and PR. PR is quite a big term, but it's included bits and pieces in the press, so getting press release, press coverage, perhaps guest features online or in print, and sort of finding opportunities to expand and get more knowledge around those, and that's been for riders and businesses, both. And I also do a little bit of coaching, so sort of do it for you service to help riders, so if they don't have time, but I also help other riders who do want to do it themselves, how they can go about using social media more effectively, and how they can approach a brand or a company in the right way.
Cool. Okay, great. So let's talk a little bit about that then. So why would riders or businesses, why would people be using social? Because if we think about it, when it first started up Facebook back in, it was about, well, I joined, I think in 2006, something like that. Crazy.
Yeah, I was at uni.
That's it. Yeah, last year of uni, we all went, what's this book face thing? Oh, we'll sign up to that. Might keep in touch. Then it really was people posting pictures of their dinner and stuff like that, and just, it was very much like that, but it's massively evolved over the years, hasn't it? So tell us a little bit about why we need to be using it in a very different way now. I mean, you might still post pictures of your food, I suppose, if you want to. Definitely post pictures of your pony, but why do we need to be thinking about it differently now?
Well, social media is, for one, free, and two, gives you access to more people than you can possibly imagine. So I think something like 80 billion people are online every day. And Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that open you up to that market. And it's a really simple way, effective way of getting your stuff in front of your ideal client. And the thing is, if, as bad as it sounds, if you're not doing it, your competitors will be doing it. It's the power of it is so great now that you will be missing out if you're not there on top of it, really.
So what is, go on, Karen.
Oh, go on, no, you go.
I was going to say, what is there and on top of it? What
doing sort of consistently, that doesn't mean every single day. That means a timetable that works for you and your customers. Posting good content that's got good value. It's not all about sales. It is all about talking about the value, giving advice, and posting engaging information that people want to be involved with. If you can create a community, that's even better. I was looking at it yesterday. Starbucks did this red cup campaign a little while ago, and it was genius because it was user generated content. So they were saying, "I'll tag us in your pictures to be featured and potentially win a prize," and people just went mad. And so they're getting free content, but people are feeling like they've made it because Starbucks are posting them on their socials, and it becomes like a little family then. And that's a great way to, again, like get your company or your own, even as riders, discussing it with a rider yesterday and how we could do that for her, create that little sense of community, and get those raving fans, which is really the key.
Okay, so we want raving fans, so we want people around us supporting us, and we want to be out there showing people what we're doing. So that, I mean, so that ultimately, I was always told it was so that they know, like, and trust us, isn't it?
Yeah,
So they get to know us, they get to like us, they get to trust us, and then they're going to be more interested in what we've got to say and trust it. So that then when you are talking about your product or your service, they're ready then to buy it and ready to engage in it some way. So, what would you say are some of the common myths around, social media and things that people come up with that you have to come against? What are the things that people say to you?
I get a lot of, does it really make that much difference? Actually, I spoke to a couple of brands at beta early in the year, and now companies, and they're like, oh, do we really need to? Or we're sure we get plenty of sales, and I'm sure you will. I think you just get a few more by the addition of social media. They say it takes 7 points of contact for someone to know, like, and trust you. Apparently now in the world of social media, it's up to as much as 70. So if you're able to get regular posts out there and seen more often, you're going to hit that quite a bit sooner. And yeah, I think also a lot of people feel a real pressure to put the perfect life on social media, especially sort of with the equestrian world and the professionals. They're like, oh, we must make everything look clean, and we'll talk about our results. But actually, people, I've found, really like an engaging story and something they can get on board with themselves, because at the end of the day, like, unless you're very, very lucky, nothing's ever completely perfect with a horse. And having those highs and lows, I think, is important. You don't need to put every single detail and a niche in all of the lows, because then it sort of swings it the other way. But actually, I think, the behind the scenes is really engaging. I was actually having a chat to someone, I don't know if you've seen the F1 series on Netflix at the moment. It's all the behind the scenes of Formula One. Sort of took me back to my day.
I was going to say, that used to be where you were, isn't it? Oh, were you in it?
Yeah, no, it's like the last 3 years, so a bit too. But they were saying how it'd be great for that for the equestrian world. Like, if there was a behind the scenes series of, like, badminton or the Olympics, you actually knew what was really going on. It'd be really interesting. I think there's a lot of people that would love to know how these people have got to the top and succeeded and done as much as they've done, how much hard work it is, and that side. So I think that brings, if you can.
And I think, everyone loves the underdog, don't they? Everyone loves to know that actually they weren't giving it all on a plate and they can do it. Because what that actually does from a mindset perspective is, when something seems out of reach, it switches people off. So they think, oh, I'm not actually that bothered about it. They've got it all. I'm never going to get that because I don't have all this, whatever it is that I need to get there. But actually, when people hear that, you bought your horse for £1, or that you rescued it, or that this is your 8th horse that you've had to go through to get the right partnership, or that, you went through all sorts of hell and back, or, you haven't just been given it on a plate, that kind of side of things. People really like that, because they think, oh, well, if you could do it, there's a chance I could too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what level you're at, does it? I think the reason people love Charlotte Desjardins' story so much is that, she started off in showing. She worked hard, but she got given a break. She got to go and work with Carl, and she put everything into it to get to where she got to. And people kind of go, oh, actually, do you know what? Like, no one just put her on a Grand Prix horse and said, off you go. And I think that's the thing, that's the engaging thing, isn't it? It's linking with what's relevant to someone, so they go, oh, me too, that's a bit like me, maybe I could do that, or learn from you. Or, great phrase I loved the other day, someone said to me, as they said, I've gotten to the top of the tower that I want to get to, and I by no means took a lift to get up here, but there's now a lift up here. Like, I know the fast route to get here, and I will come down in that lift to meet you at the bottom of the stairs, but by hook or crook, you're not getting in the lift with me. You've got to do the stairs. I will show you which stairs to miss out on and how not to fall over on the way up, but you're not getting in my lift because it was the one that I made. And it was really interesting. It was like, oh, that's a really good analogy. I like that. So tell us about, when you're working with riders and things, and you're doing their social and you're getting them out there more. Tell us the kind of things that you're doing and you're helping them with, and all of that sort of side of it.
So with the coaching, actually, a lot of it, the riders sort of go, well, I'm not an international Grand Prix rider yet. Can I, who's going to want to work with me? And actually, there's an amazing amount that every rider has to offer, and everyone's different. So there will be brands that align completely with you that possibly won't align with that international Grand Prix rider. So we sit and work out their own personal brand, what it is to them, what their values are, and then we go on and work out actually how many different ways that they can help a company, because it's a two-way street, sponsorship and social media is a part of that journey. But it's really, you know, it almost becomes a point of like, oh, actually you've got 20, almost 30 ways that you can help market a company. Don't you owe that to them to help them out, because you can help them and help that business grow. And so we take that and then we step into the social media aspect and just sort of give them a real quick overhaul of how they can use that better. So how they can grow their pages more, how we look at shareability and viral content, but also managing stories on Instagram versus what you put in your grid and the sort of things you put on Facebook to target. You know, if you're a rider and coach, you need to be finding your ideal clients and how you go and do with that. So that's kind of what the bits I work on. With the social media pages that I manage on behalf of riders, we sort of look at a bit of behind the scenes, training tips and advice, content that's relatable, also definitely sort of involving sponsors as much as possible, and then competition results or where they're out training and teaching so people can find them. I think that's sort of like the main aspects that we put on those pages. But in general, I think the social media is almost better when it comes from the riders themselves. So I try and give them the tools to do it better if I can.
Okay, so let's say I come to you and I'm not an international Grand Prix rider. In fact, I have no real desires to be an international Grand Prix if we're talking about dressage or what have you. But I would really quite like some people on my team. I'd like some sponsors on board. I'd like some free product. I'd like some free service. You know, I just want some stuff. Yeah. What would you say?
Okay, so it's mainly about working out what you can offer them. So free stuff's great, but actually, is it the right stuff? You've got to pair with the right company, the right brand. There's no point going to some company you don't know and getting free stuff if you don't like it, because you'll never write a really, truly honest report. And the thing is, brands are looking for people that are going to really honestly talk and rave about what they do, what they offer, their products, because it sells more. Fundamentally, sponsorship is a marketing tool. I was just about to say something that's gone completely out of my head that was really useful.
Right, it'll come back. I was going to say to you, if I had that mindset though, of I just want some free stuff, like, you know, it would just be quite cool to have some free bits. What would you say to someone that had that kind of mindset around it? And then your thing will come back to you as you're talking about it, I guarantee.
I think it'd be chatting about why specifically free, and then what they're going to do for that in return. It is a relationship. It's always a relationship. And, you know, whether it's friends or partners, you can't have it all just being take. It just doesn't work. It'll always break down. And neither of you will come out of it smiling. So it'll be about reworking that and actually saying, you know, what can you offer them? What can we do together? How can we find that right company that suits you and what you need? Because there's no point, you know, me giving you a free shovel if your horse is on DIY, is there? But you've got free stuff. So I guess it's a little bit about setting those goals that are really specific, and do a bit of that as well. That helps make it very tailored and more achievable.
Okay, so I know one of the common questions that you get a lot is, why do I want to pay someone? Because, you know, your packages, funnily enough, aren't free. Like, no. You know, it's a business. Why do I want to pay you to help me sort my social media out? That doesn't make any sense to me, because actually, you know, a few free products here and there, I could probably manage to get myself right. So why does someone need support with this stuff? Because we keep talking about the mindset of social media here, and yeah. It's useful to know what the sort of the less than helpful. There's never a wrong mindset. There's a less than helpful mindset, which is I want some free stuff. Yeah. What would be a more helpful mindset around thinking about this for riders, for influencers, for anyone?
How can I help them? I think that's a better way to look at it. It is always about talking about the other company and how can I use the platforms that I have to expose that brand more. It takes a lot of effort to manage a social media channel and do it well. And there are, you know, perhaps like with the tower example that you used, I can help you go up those steps a little bit faster than if you are trying to work it all out yourself. But it's also about, you know, finding those right platforms for you to grow on, because if you're not necessarily always teaching 700 people a month, and you're not out on the road competing at big shows, and you're not exposed to a massive audience, then having the social media means you can get to more people and advertise to more people in that way instead. I've been reading a really interesting book that I need to finish, called 1 Million Followers, and they start with the first chapter on, it's an actress, and they said to her, you know, you're a really great actress, you should make it in Hollywood, but you've got no social media. And she's like, how on earth is that relevant to me being a good actor? And they're like, well, the girl next to you is not, you know, she's only a little bit less good than you, but she's got millions of followers, so she'll be able to promote our films and what behind the scenes and what's going on considerably more. So if you are up against someone who has all the social media platforms, then you know you're going to be missing out on tens of thousands of people that you can market that brand to. And I've had some interesting chats with companies lately, actually, and they've said, oh, you know, we want to support the top riders, but they haven't grasped the social media side for us, and we need that to help promote our businesses. And a lot of them will now sell off social media rather than online or have a shop. So they need that support, and that's kind of where I try and help riders tidy that aspect of their business up.
So tell us a little bit more about that then. So there's businesses out there that are saying, do you know, I'd rather take someone at a lower level or more of a grassroots because they've got 20,000 followers than necessarily pitch it at someone at the top level. And quite frankly, we all know nowadays, don't we, that the top level riders get tons of sponsorship. They may not even necessarily be using those products, might they? They, you know, they wear the brand on their jacket or their cap when they're doing their PR or whatever because they have to, that's in the contract. But they go home and they probably don't use the products a lot of the time. Tell us a little bit then about the kind of that idea then of why a business might want to pick you. It's again that mindset of why should I do it, over a top rider then.
I think there is that common misconception as well that, so you know, people see the top riders and go, oh, they're paid to use that brand, so they probably don't really you know, they probably don't really use it. I don't think that's true, but that is what some people feel. You know, that mindset piece, like we've said, people think that exists. Whereas the more grassroots, or even, I wouldn't even say grassroots, you know, anything from grassroots up really, are deemed to be more relatable. And people buy from people that are like them. So if you have a relatable story on your social media, and you can be top level and have a very relatable story, then people will be attracted to those products, and that's why companies will have a broad range of riders on their spectrum, and they will have influencers who have tens of thousands of followers. But actually, if you've got a couple of thousand followers, you know, you don't have to be massive. But if you've got a really, really engaged following where people are really interested in your journey and what you're using and how you're using it, that's also equally as powerful as being a top level rider too. So everyone has, like I said before, we're all slightly different and got slightly different skills and strengths and things to offer. So it's about finding that.
Okay, so how would you go about finding out your skills and your strengths then? You know, so there's me riding at novice BD, doing a bit showing here and there. Would really like there's some products I love. I'd really love to be able to support that company to help them even more, because that's the mindset you need, isn't it? Yeah. Not how do I get it for free, but how do I support that company to help grow them? And as a bonus, they might give me something or some discount or some free product or something that's going to help us both out. It's got to be win-win, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, what do I need to be thinking about to understand what you've just said there?
So when we go through this coaching, we do a lot of working out how many different ways you can expose a brand, and you will sit down and come up with a list. So I don't want to go into it in detail, but basically you need to sit and be really focused on how many different ways you are out there and exposing yourself to the world. So is that yard visits? Is that social media? Is it teaching? Is it competitions? Sit and have a real good think about all those different ways that you know, if you were a walking billboard, who's going to see it? And that's the way to look at it.
Oh, I love that analogy, a walking billboard, because I think traditionally people used to see sponsorship as well as you get a saddle pad and a gilet, didn't you? Yeah. And you know, I used to get people say to me, because I run an ambassador scheme and they have to apply to it every year, and I would say to people, I in some ways, yes, I'm interested in your social media following, but I'm also interested in those of you that are out there talking to people, because in what I do, that's really important.
Yeah.
But this isn't a saddle pad and a gilet kind of thing. You know, you need to be part of the team. It very much is part of a team as well, isn't it? Our ambassador team. In fact, I saw this morning one of the girls just checked in with everyone and went, "Hey, how are you all doing?" You know, I was like, "Oh, that's nice. I meant to do that this morning. You got there first." You know, so it's really lovely having that team, isn't it? But what they're doing for the brand is they genuinely are a part of it. They are a team. And they don't have saddle pads and gilets, because actually they're not, especially at the moment, they're not out showing that off. And I don't know how much exposure does that kind of thing even get. That's kind of the old traditional way of looking at it, isn't it? So it's a mix, from what I hear you say.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a mix. You know, some people do want a saddle pad and a gilet, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. I remember being a kid and I desperately wanted like my name on my saddle cloth, and then it's like, oh, I'd love a company, and that was it. Dead chuck with a saddle cloth with a brand on it. And for some people, you know, that's fine, and you'll get a great partnership with a brand if it works for both of you. But still, you know, it is a great way still, you know, if you're getting that picture of your rider in Horse and Hound or in a magazine and they've got your logo on the side, then it's not a bad little spot of advertising that you've got for free. So it is varied. And I think, you know, if you're wearing branded stuff when you head to someone to teach them, they might then ask what it is, and it just sparks that conversation. And that's how things start to flow, is when they see something and wonder what it is, as well as you just talking about it. So I think it's a good little addition to what you're doing.
Cool. Okay. So what I'm hearing so far then is that the mindset around this is got to be, how is this a win-win for both of us? How can I help companies that I probably already love, or that I maybe don't know exist yet, but would be a great fit? What is it that I'm doing that isn't necessarily the traditional thing you might think about doing on social media? What are all the different ways that people see me or see me out and about? And, you know, particularly social media, but also outside of that is just as important, especially in the horse world, isn't it? I mean, at the moment, social media is obviously massively important because of lockdown. That's the way it went crazy, didn't it? Because it was our only way of communicating a lot of it. And so a lot of brands had to really ramp up their social media. But what I'm hearing from you very much is it's a real mix, isn't it? It's a real mix. You know, and it's about what's right for you. It's about knowing you, what you're about. Tell us just quickly, without giving too much away, because I know it's on your coaching package, but what is a personal brand then? What's that? Because often when we think of brand, we think of a logo or something for a company, don't we? That's normally the first thought. Or we might think about colours or something like that. But what is a brand then? How do you have a personal brand as a rider or an influencer?
So it's coming up almost with your own little, we kind of generally come up with like a phrase that really means something to you and sums up what you do and how you do it. And it can be really simple. My brand on my Decipher Dressage page was amateur dressage rider, and that for me meant everything. You know, it's really simple, but that's what it was. I wanted to talk about my riding, balancing my work. I had quite an interesting job at points, and it was like, how do I balance it? What products make my life easier? Because I'm an amateur dressage rider, what's related to dressage? What's related to the amateur aspect? And it brings everything back into that. So, you know, when you're sat and going, I don't know what to post about, what makes a difference to you, you know, and your day and your riding. So me, it'd be like, okay, well, I'm not sure what to post about. Perhaps I could talk about today, like how I've managed to organise my diary for competing, because that's takes extra bit of time around my work. Or what product made a real big difference? What makes my life easier because I've got to be quick and rush round because I've got to get everything in before work, and that kind of thing. And it's coming up with perhaps a handful of words. It might be a sentence, it might be a couple of words, and everyone's is different, that really ties everything into one place. So then you'll start and go, oh no, that brand doesn't fit this, or my values are completely out of sync with how I post. You know, I can't post in that way on my social because that doesn't feel right and it doesn't align with me and myself and my horses. So it's really just that kind of middle point that you can always come back to when you're a little bit stuck and not doing a very good job of explaining it.
Yeah, that makes total sense, because I was just thinking about that then. I was thinking, what's mine? And I thought, well, actually mine's dream it, do it, love it. And that's exactly what it is. It's like, dream it, great, now do it, but make sure you're loving it as well. Like, don't just do it because you dreamt it, or do it and not love it, or don't do it because you're only dreaming it, you know. And to me, that was like, that's my catchphrase, that's my thing, and I love it. And that says everything about what it's about, and people see that and go, oh yeah, I get that, I get what that's about then.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so We talked about why it's a good thing to be doing, how you need to know what you're about, how you need to think about what's in it for others, and to get that great partnership. You need to think about all the different ways you can do things, all the interesting stuff. We need to think about showing behind the scenes as well. We'll get a bit more onto that in a minute. What about this idea then of the downsides? And social media really gets a big bashing sometimes for the bad influence it has. It makes it in the press, people being bullied, all this terrible stuff. I mean, you put yourself out there, you've put yourself out there. So tell us a bit about your take on the kind of the mindset you need to have around social media, because I know you've been on one heck of a journey around this over the years, haven't you, yourself, before you even set up your own company around it. Tell us a little bit about the sort of the downsides, the pitfalls, the things people have got to be aware of and open-eyed to before they do really start to put themselves out there more publicly.
I think it's about determining why you're doing it. And I think that why needs to come from a place that is true to you and like your brand. I set my page up as a diary because I wanted to I was fed up with everyone seeing, I think my friends were fed up with me continuously posting about my horse, and I just wanted to take it separately. People now set up purely because they need to for their business, but try, if you can, think about what you'd actually get out of having it, rather than just having it as perhaps a side. I know my business needs this, so I'm going to have to do it. What can it bring to you? What actual help can it have for you? Will it be that photographic memory? You can look back over the years and really remember what you're doing, or will it be a means to capture all the team that you work with and you can talk about them a lot? And I think with that way, then it becomes your own little personal journey. If people don't like it, then there will always be trolls. There will always be someone who's got something negative to say. I had it for the first time. I've been really lucky with my own personal page, and it's always been positive. And someone the other week posted, "Oh, it's all right for you because you can ride in the middle of the day, not like us that got to ride around work." And I was like, I've spent the last 10 years massively juggling this, and I've been very fortunate that I've reworked my life so I can. And I was like, it's funny now because now I'm getting knocked for doing what I. And I just kind of had to sit and laugh a little bit and just reply and say, thanks very much. I've worked hard to get here so I can do this. The video is actually taken at 9 o'clock in the morning. I think on a Sunday I've been up at 6 to get to where I needed to ride at. So it wasn't the middle of a day that I just crawled out of bed for. And it is, people can just judge off of one single image what they want to take, and people will. But I think the good will always outweigh the bad for me. There's always been so many positive people, positive comments, and what I've seen from other people's as well, as people get on that journey and want to support you and see you do well. So if you do get a troll, I think you can celebrate that you've made it and you're doing something. I always say to people when they get one, open a glass of bubbly and celebrate it, because somebody's annoyed that you're doing well. So take it like it's a good opportunity, and you just politely have a conversation with them as well. Don't be rude, don't be crude back, but if you just have that conversation with them, oh, thank you very much for your comments, something polite back, and then they respond again, you end up increasing your engagement on your post. So they've helped you out because they've made your post even bigger. So yeah, if you do get the odd one, and I always think it will be a handful, then just celebrate it and take it as that you've done something that's upset someone else, so you're clearly doing it right.
Yeah, I have to say that was taught to me many years ago, and it was the most useful thing I've ever had, and I know I share it with all my ambassadors, which is that good, someone thinks you've done something that they're jealous of. So in order for someone to be jealous of you, and they actually have to take the time to go on your page and write this stuff, they must be super jealous. They've actually, they're using their energy to do this. And the only reason people will ever try and knock you down or make you feel bad about what you're doing or tell you shouldn't be doing it is because they are not. And why are they not? Well, they've obviously got issues of their own, they've got beliefs of their own that are holding them back, and it's really funny, isn't it, that there you are for years saying, this is how I juggle a really super full-time career around trying to, do the very best with my horse and things, and realize that actually you didn't want to do that anymore. And you managed to create a business, you've worked really hard to get that business up and running in order to have the flexibility you wanted to be around your horse. And then someone comes around and turns you off. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, really, aren't you? So I always say to people, look, if you're going to upset people, you might as well be happy doing what you want to and upsetting them than being miserable and upsetting them anyway, because it doesn't matter. It, does not matter, does it? They're not gonna like you regardless. And even if people are too negative on social media, even if people are too real. So tell us a little bit about, being real and still getting that stuff. This whole idea of warts and all and things like that, and being honest.
I think that's where, like, perhaps if your horse gets an injury, always make sure that the people around you know first before you post it on social media. Like, that's pretty key. Your sponsors shouldn't be finding out off Facebook that your horse is out of work. You don't have to put how exactly it disappeared, how it's hurt itself. You can just say, this is how, real gutted, this is what's happened, we're out for the season now, and then you park it. Because I think when you leave things open, people come up with their own stories around it, whereas if you can put the truth out there first and be able to quash it, and people go, oh god, that's really tough for them, and then you can, if your horse can return to work, you've got a whole new story about how you've rehabbed your horse back into full fitness. And imagine, like, having the people behind you backing you with that, like, that'd be really exciting. I think the opposite side that I've seen with some pages is they just continuously talk about all the negative, and that's also a bit off-putting, because you're like, you've got so much great going on in your life, like great horses, like, come on, be happy about all of that side too. So it is a balance. I don't think it should be like a fairies and champagnes and yay, life's wonderful all the time, or oh my god, my life's the worst thing. It's just about having that rule, and you can professionally spin all of that.
Yeah, and I think, like you were saying as well, actually, when we think about what social media is, okay, so we can think of it from the point of view of you're a rider or an influencer and you want to work with great brands, and you can think of it from the point of view of you're a business, you're a great brand, you want to work with these people. But then most of the people on social media are on it for entertainment.
Yeah.
Education, entertainment. That's what they want, those three things: education and entertainment. And you are not going to entertain someone if you're just constantly going on about the negative, because people are going to go, oh. I've never quite got why people like EastEnders so much, to be honest with you. It's just, so to me, it was always like, oh god, it's so depressing. But it's because they'd be major depressing and then do this massive lift with this storyline of great amazingness or something. They bring you back out of it again, but then they put you back in it again. And it's not saying engineer it like EastEnders, please no. But, why do we love awful stuff like Love Island?
Oh yeah.
Or any kind of social, any of that stuff. It's because it's got the highs and the lows, hasn't it? You can't always have the highs, you can't always have the lows. We've got to take them on a journey. We've got, as someone once said to me, you've got to breathe with your audience. So you've got to bring it up and let it down again, and bring it up and let it again. So, like you said, it's about balance, isn't it? It's about think about what's going to entertain and educate. And in your professional opinion, then, what kind of stuff is the most entertaining or educational that really engages people?
I honestly think you're your own ideal viewer with your page. So a lot of it is, if you've seen other pages that you like the way they do it that way, but your own little spin on it. If you can't find it, be that page, do it yourself, do it your own way. I think it's also, it's a very personal thing. You don't want to be continuously posting in a way that you're not comfortable with because you feel that's the right thing to do. So, and as well, like, it will come across and it won't be interesting. So just, it's about doing what's comfortable for you fundamentally, and just really thinking, when you're about to hit the post button on that, is that the right thing to be saying? Just sanity check it before you send it. But otherwise, do what makes you happy.
Cool. Okay. And it's interesting because, things we've heard of in the past are PR stunts, clickbait, that kind of thing. So tell us a little bit about what that stuff kind of is and why people do it, and why maybe it's not the best idea, really. Can be.
Not seen so much of it in the equestrian world, but I guess it's kind of like putting out a picture that you think is going to be really exciting, and then you click on it and you realise it's not what you thought it was going to be. Fundamentally, we've all seen those pictures.
Or some kind of headline or something, isn't it? There's something terrible, and you click on it and it's not really news at all. It's just they've done this fabulous headline. Yeah.
And it does work. It gets people onto your site and works, I guess, for engagement and whatnot. But I think it's, like you said, social media was set up to be talking about us and what we're doing and what we're up to, and it boils back to that. It's about being sociable and there is a real feeling of that you have to put the right thing out there all the time and be skinny and, you know, always looking pretty, and your horse always has to have matchy, and that's not what the world's like. So no, I think again, I'll just say stay true to what you want to do with it.
I think that's so true as well, isn't it? Like, I know I've had lots of discussions with people and they go, oh, you know, I really want to get more photos up, or I really want to be on camera more or anything like that, but you know, I haven't done my makeup, I don't look good. I mean, look, my hair's still not dry this morning, still not dry on camera. And you see me walking the dog in the morning, sometimes I'm like, oh, just got enough. But there's that fine line, isn't there, between being real, because actually they're interested in what you've got to say, and not so much what you look like, unless you're setting yourself up as a high-end luxury brand, in which case, yeah, image is everything, isn't it?
Yeah, if you being used, you getting up every day and putting makeup on and doing your hair, then that's you and that's real. Like, you do you. But no, you don't have to. If you as a person isn't somebody who wakes up and looks glamorous every single day, then that's also fine. Like,
definitely not.
Problem.
If I started doing that, everyone would be like, gosh, she's suddenly got some time on her hands. What's she not doing then?
Yeah. You know, it's about what you feel comfortable. And if putting makeup on makes you feel more comfortable to get in front of camera to start with, or using a filter, then do that. It is about, you know, if you really want to get your message across using video, but you're just a bit unsure because you don't have the right haircut that day or something, find a means to work around it. And, you know, perhaps you talk over the camera and look, you know, you'll discuss your horse and do it that way. But just get out there and start doing it. It's probably
I really like that. And I think that comes back to the concept I always talk about if we're talking about social media mindset here, of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, if your comfort zone isn't videos, if your comfort zone isn't being without makeup, if your comfort zone isn't just chatting off the cuff, then what is the little bit of a stretch from your comfort zone? Because that will grow in time. I mean, I didn't start doing lives every morning walking the dog without makeup on or my hair done. Good God, no. You know, they were a set time with a sort of a real, I thought about what it was I was going to say, what the topic was going to be, you know, much more sort of professional in that respect. And then I realized that actually my brand is softer and much more personable. And, you know, yeah, it's a very serious topic, mindset, and we can cover some serious stuff sometimes, but actually also it's like real, it's people. And so I wanted to get a bit of the realness across. So I decided that for me personally, lives off the cuff, walking my puppy as well, because people love, is it dogs and coffee? Is that the two things that get you a lot of engagement? Was it?
Yeah,
you told me this
there was
one.
dogs and cats and coffee.
Why coffee? I've never got this one.
I think it's good to come up with your own little brand motifs. I did a copywriting masterclass the other week, and there'll be things that people always associate with you and your brand, and then you can use the emojis to then match your sort of motif to your business. So if you, as your business is, I mean, the dog, so you can use the dog emoji a lot. You normally have like 3. So, you know, some people I know, you know, drink a lot of Prosecco, so that's one of them, and they can use that little emoji. Yeah, so Jenny, you could use Prosecco, dog, and a pony would probably be your 3. You know,
that's a happy life.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Prosecco's, ponies, and puppies. There we are. That's me. What do you do with those emojis then once you've got them? Once you discover what it is that you're about?
You can use them in your social media posts. So as like little breakpoints, and emojis do really well to sort of bring a bit of personality into a post. And yeah, like if you're using your bullet points or something like that, but they become, it's asking people what they associate with you really, if you're not sure of your own one. Like if they came up to people, I ask people, they'd probably say unicorns, ponies, and Proseccos as well. Like, I love a lot of Prosecco. You know, if you're not sure, then ask some people, but then you can use them and just theme them through. It's very, very subtle, but it is quite a nice little tweak to your socials. So when they see somebody else use that emoji, they think of you.
So there's actually a technique, well, not a technique, there's actually a mindset thing to that. It's called anchoring, which is the linking of two things together. Now, normally we talk about emotional anchoring, but if they've watched a post that they've become emotionally engaged with you, and emotionally engaged doesn't have to be sat there crying. It could be sharing something like that, but it can also be sharing the highs, because this is why people like entertaining and engaging content, isn't it? It's because they are sharing the emotion with you.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in order for them to share your highs, they have to know about your lows and vice versa, don't they? So that's why the whole picture is so important. And this is why we love, as a nation, reality TV.
Yeah.
And I suppose in a way, you know, social media is edited reality TV, really, isn't it? I mean, actually, reality TV is heavily edited. That's the whole point. That's why it looks the way it does, isn't it? Because it's really quite dull, actually. They're very good at making it seem interesting.
Yeah.
Somehow. You know, I mean, The Apprentice is a classic example, isn't it? Half the conversations they actually have aren't actually what's going on. It's just been edited really carefully to make it look that way. Like, someone did not make that really stupid decision. They just, that's boring if they showed what really went on. They've got to show them having an argument about something because someone did something really stupid. We all sit there going, you're so stupid. But we watch it.
Yeah. Yeah,
so if the stupid emoji was at that point there on the same screen as us watching the person having the argument, and we wanted to, for whatever, remember for being stupid or whatever, that links them together. So I can totally see how, from a brain perspective, that works. So that's really subtle and clever, isn't it? And it's subtle, clever things like that we need people like you to help us with. So what kind of stuff are you doing at the moment to help kind of teach people about this, all the clever bits?
Well, I do 2 courses. So I've got the sponsorship course. It's a sort of a 6-week one-to-one program where we do go through. We touch on social media because it is quite an important part of that. But I also do a social media course as well. I haven't really spoken about it. It is there available. I guess I've just sat it on the back burner. Where we can go through in depth, you know, more goal setting on your social medias, how to write good copy, proper hashtag strategy, because there's quite a lot around that. Again, how to get much more growth and engagement across your platforms. Perhaps potentially looking a bit about adverts, although I don't think it's so relevant to riders, but it is relevant to businesses. Anything and everything that people sort of come up with and face against social media. So.
Cool. Okay. Well, I think that's kind of. Is there anything you think you want to cover that we haven't? Because we kind of covered loads of stuff today, haven't we?
Yeah, I think. No, there's that.
I thought you were going to come up with an absolute gem then.
I did as well.
Really, that was like.
Yeah. No, I had a proper brain fart then.
You see, this is engaging content, isn't it? Because we're all willing you now to come up with that. We know it's there, Katie. It's going to come out in a minute. It's there.
I think just I think it's that age old thing, you know. If you don't do it, think about if you're scared of doing it because you might get one troll or one bad comment, like what actually you're going to miss out on. There's so many more things that you can gain out of it than just one negative comment. I think it is that cheesy phrase, you only ever regret the things you don't do. So, you know, give it a go. If you don't like it, then delete it. That's the bonus of social media. If it doesn't work for you, you just stop posting. Simple. But I think there's a lot to be gained and benefited out of it. Just give it a go.
I have to say that I wouldn't be where I was without having used social media over the years. I certainly wouldn't have the team around me that I've got. They're incredible because, you know, the ambassador scheme that I run is purely advertised on social media. There's a web page so they can go and apply, but it's advertised on social media. It's talked about on social media. It's shared. You know, they use social media. If ever there was anyone that said anything, I don't really get negative comments. They tend to be more DMs that I get. If someone's going to say something negative, they don't tend to put it on the page so much. They tend to message me and tell me what they think. Oh, that's fine. Thanks very much for taking the time. That's nice of you. Go and find something else to do now because, you know, like really. But they rally around you, and that's the best bit, isn't it? When you've got a group of people that are your fans, they vehemently believe in what you do, and they will be your battle. They will fight your battles, won't they? They will go around you. So if you think about it, you might get some people that don't like what you've got to say, but you're more likely to get a lot more people that do, and they will fight your battles for you. So, you know, my guys, if ever anyone was to put anything, and I had it once in the past, they rallied round like you wouldn't believe, and it's lovely. It's nice, isn't it? So, you know, and the brands will do the same thing. I know a lot of companies that if someone's had a bad day or a bad time, or the brands come around them and say, hey, look, that's okay. You know, we're not expecting you to always post that you've won or, you know, anything like that. And it's nice if you do, but actually, like, we want you to do well, because I know it's probably just worth covering that actually quickly before we finish, is this concept of being worried about how you do because of how your sponsors or your brands might think about it. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's just always about being honest. I know I had it last year because I qualified for the winters, and River got a massive bout of lymphangitis just before. And I was really fortunate. I just signed up with a feed company, and it was like a dream come true, this support for me. And I'd based it around me having these big goals for the season, and I just relocated, and we only just made regionals because River tried to jump out the arena and landed on the gate. And so to get that golden ticket was really special, and then to not go was kind of heartbreaking. And funny, as long as you're honest and upfront, that's the main thing. And I went and told them and you, and everyone was like, these things happen. It's horses. If you can just still talk about it and talk about how you've helped us, then that's not a problem, because a lot of brands get it, especially equestrian ones. Like, they completely understand that stuff goes wrong, and if they don't, then perhaps you might want to reconsider the partnership. But I think fundamentally, nearly everyone will. You become a team and a family, and that goes away pretty quick, because as soon as you have that conversation, it's all good.
I think that's really key, isn't it? So it's, when you do have great brands that are like that, and they genuinely want you to do well, and they want to support you as a person, because that's what it's really about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then they will rally with you through the difficult bits or the downtimes. And if you get, and I've had this, I've had ambassadors, or actually I haven't had ambassadors because I was their supporter, but I've had sort of brands that have supported me or something over the years, and one actually turned around to me once and they said, you're promoting your business more than me, so I don't think this is working. And I went, how do you think I pay for the fuel to get to you to come have lessons and things? Like, come on, I've got to have a horse here. I've got to pay for it. You want me to be an ambassador? I've got. You want me? It was a coach that was coaching me. It's like, that's a bit weird. So that didn't work. And I know of other people that have said, oh, the brand aren't very happy because I haven't been doing well, or then you're not the right match. It's a bit like dating, isn't it? Like, you're gonna have to kiss some frogs before you find some princes or princesses or unicorns.
I think it's about being really clear up front what both of you expect out of the partnership. I've made that mistake before because of not really knowing what I was meant to be delivering. And then you don't know how much to deliver, and if you're under or over, and it becomes a bit confusing. Whereas if you up front, and it doesn't have to be a formal contract, I think they help. But definitely having a little email chain, be like, look, what do you need? And you try and say, this is my aim for the season, this is where I want to be. But fundamentally, they will get it if you don't. And if you're still posting across your other platforms and exposing them in different ways and talking about, like a feed company doesn't just help you on show day, does it? It helps you on every single day of the year. So talk about how they help you in the other ways instead. And if it is like the mindset coaching, how that's helped you through this time where you had all your goals lined up and you were about to live your dream and it will come crashing down. Every brand can support on the bad days as well as the good, and it's about doing the right thing and talking about them in those senses instead. But fundamentally, they should find out before it goes on your social media. So don't whatever you do, put the bad news up on social before they know. That is probably the key bit of advice I'd give. Great
bit of advice there. I do sometimes have ambassadors that do that kind of thing, and then I drop them a little message and I'm like, you okay? But it's like, yeah, well, fair enough. It depends how good your relationship is, really, doesn't it? But yeah. Okay, I have a question for you, Katie. Yeah, here we go. It's a long one. That's not. Right, I set up a blog for my confidence journey and limited it to a year, as I feel people don't really want to read about my day 735 as I tacked up for too long. So, advice on limited time blogs. This is a new thing. I didn't know there was a limited time blog. Would you post weekly, daily, or every ride? I totally agree with being scared to big yourself up. We might want some clarification on that one too in a moment, but what do you think about how to keep it fresh? I think probably what she means is, how do I keep it fresh? If I was planning on doing it for a year, but now she's a year in, I know that much. What do I keep writing that's not still? So I'm doing the same thing, especially with lockdown. We were a little bit limited on what we were up to, weren't we? How do we keep it fresh?
Oh, good question. I think the same way you keep your training fresh. We as riders are always out doing new things. And there must have been something that's changed in that year. So what has changed for you? What's different now? If it doesn't sit right with you to be posting about it anymore, then don't. If you really feel comfortable about writing about it and you still want to, and you still feel that there's a following, then do. But if you're struggling to come up with content daily and you feel like every ride's a bit sort of the same, then perhaps limit it. Do maybe a weekly summary on how it's gone. And if you've had a breakthrough ride, then post about that one. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to post, you know, the algorithms love consistency, but fundamentally, like, it is your own personal thing. So if you've had a ride that's been incredible and you want to talk about it there and then. It's not a problem. I think just be, you know, if you're finding yourself getting bored of what you're writing about, then that probably is it. So just go and have a think about what you like reading, have a look at some other posts, have a look at some different blogs and see what they're doing, and just get maybe some new ideas that way, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the way that I think, oh, what am I going to post? What content's it going to be? You know, that kind of thing. As a business, it's useful to have a content calendar, isn't it? And, you know, schedule stuff. But at the same time, sometimes you want the off the cuff things as well, don't you? You want to, you know, post about something relevant. And over the years, I've certainly found that if I go and learn something new, or I watch something new, or I'm learning about another area, there's always some way of linking it into what I'm thinking or doing. You know, talking about what you're up to, what you've been and learned, what you've seen, what someone else. You could sometimes talk about what someone else was talking about. That's interesting. You know, like, no, I don't mean like book reviews, but you know what I mean. Like when you used to do a book review, you review someone else's review of something. Things like that certainly helps, doesn't it? So just kind of, you know, and I know certainly for you, Sue, there's all sorts of stuff going on in your life. I think people would probably find that quite interesting to know about your life in a little way as well, just a little bit. That's not just your pony as well. Sometimes, you know, that's why the dog appears on my stuff now, because I think he's cute. Yeah. So do other people, which is nice.
Dogs and cats and pets go a long way.
Sorry?
Dogs and cats and pets go a long way.
They do. And coffee. So what do we need to be doing with coffee, just to finish off then, if we're going to be putting it in also? Do I just need to be, you know, sat there with a...
I think they come up with really great engagement questions. It's on like tea or coffee, and it always goes mad. Or like pancake day, lemon sugar or maple syrup. So they're completely like irrelevant, but they're quite good at getting engaged.
So is that what we call clickbait then, really?
Yeah, kind of,
stuff that's not really... I mean, clickbait doesn't have to be a bad thing, does it? It just means people to click and engage, and it's like what people are going to engage with. Yeah, I did one this morning, actually. I just kind of randomly sat there thinking about a ride I did on Sunday and how beautiful it was, and I just kind of put on my page, what's your favourite thing to do? Where do you love to ride? You know, because the stubble fields are on the way. I love a good stubble field. Gallop, but that's what we were doing mostly on Sunday. They weren't quite stubble, but they were going to be soon. You can see they're about to be harvested, these massive fields. And I thought, oh, I'm going to find out where people like to ride. And do you know what? They've put the most beautiful pictures up. And it's lovely. It's really engaging. And it's nice, because I didn't realise I had so many followers in New Zealand until there were these stunning photos of New Zealand put up. I was like, oh, look at that. That's nice to know. So you get to know about your audience as well, don't you? Yeah.
I mean, you should know that from your insights, Jenny. But... Yes,
that's right. My insights that I follow religiously, don't I?
Yes.
So, hey, it's all good. That's what I get other people to do for me. Because, you know, and that's the other thing as well, isn't it? That actually, if you really don't think you're massively good at this, or you want some help with it, you can actually get someone else to do your social for you, can't you? So tell us just really quickly, I know I keep saying to finish, but we will finish on this one. If you want to get someone else to do your socials for you, what would you think about? How would you go about it? What's a good way of doing it?
I would definitely get to know that person. So you need to know, like, you know, if you're in an equestrian business, and I mean, it might work to have a completely non-equestrian person do it for you, but have they got similar interests? Can they write in a tone of voice that is similar to you or your brand and how you want it out there?
Do they get our weird language that we use? Yeah.
Can they pick up the technical stuff that you need them to? How have they done with other social media platforms? Like, have they been growing those? What is there any reviews to have a look at? See what other people have said about what they've done. I think as a rider, personally, you're better off doing your own. But if you want to do it better, then perhaps you get some help and coaching to do it. You know, how to make it easier and such like. But I think, you know, there is a lot to be said for outsourcing it. If you need to focus on what you do best, and what you do best isn't social media, then get someone else to do it for you.
And I know you do get riders that say to you, do you know what, I'm busy teaching, I'm busy coaching, I'm busy riding, I'm busy doing that side of things, running a yard, whatever it is. You know, I want this social media presence you're talking about. I want to have great brands on board. I want the support and everything, but I literally just don't have time to be sat on my phone. Like, the moment I have time to be sat on my phone is just about I'm about to fall asleep, or as I get up in the morning, that's it. So I know you do take that on for people if they want it, don't you?
Yeah, I run like a WhatsApp group with them in their yard, so I just pest them and remind them to send me pictures, and then I'll deal with the rest and making sure it's good format, it's logoed, has it got the right caption to it. It is almost like reminding them to do it, because a lot of time it just falls away. So it's almost like a little bit of a management service, like, hey, can I have some content this week? Send me whatever you've been up to, or if I know I need to put specific sponsorship posts up, or like, make sure could you go and get some images of that brand or using that product, and that works quite well doing it that way as well. So yeah, it's very variable, depends what you want to achieve really. Cool.
Okay, so as always, that we always do, if someone wants to get in touch with you or find out more they're interested in, because there's so many different services. So you've got the I'll sit and do yours for you if you really, really want me to. Reminder management service. Then you've got the I'll coach you through exactly what it is you need to be doing, give you the templates and everything you need to be doing it. Then I know you've got the I will do your content planner and everything for you. You can put it up or do whatever you want to option. And then there's also the I'll just kind of tell you what it is that you need to be doing. Off you go, do it on your own completely independently. So there's lots of different options there, aren't there? Everything from the do it yourself to the done for you option and the do it with you, which is the middle one. How do people get hold of you if they're interested in any of this or they want to know more?
Probably Facebook and Instagram are easier. So just Riviera PR Limited on both. Or you can check out my website, which is www.rivieraprlimited.com.
Super. Thank you so much, Katie. That's been absolutely brilliant.
Oh, you're welcome.
And did that thing ever come back in the end? I think it might have done somewhere along the line. No, it didn't.
No, I think it did, yeah.
Oh, it did. There you go. See? Ta-da. Just trust. It'll bring it back. Cool. Thank you so much. If anyone wants to get hold of you, they can. And no doubt we'll have you back on another point at something to talk about something else, because it's always relevant, it's always changes, it's always something new. It's a massive topic, isn't it? So thank you. Cool. Right. Well, take care and we shall see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.